The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to TechGig webinar series, our endeavor to empower techies. We believe that sharing of knowledge is the key to enhance our skills and grow us as professionals. With this principle in mind, we have initiated a series of webinars conducted by industry experts to give you all a crisp insight of various domains. The topic of today's session is how to optimize your website for user and search engines both. And our guest speaker today is Abhishek Mehta. He's a Senior Manager, Internet Marketing with Adlift.com. Abhishek Mehta is Senior Manager with Adlift, and Adlift is one of the leading search marketing agency worldwide. Abhishek has more than 4 years of experience in the field of Internet marketing. He works closely with some of the major brands in India and US. He focuses on strategies for organic visibility optimization like inbound marketing, search engine optimization, and UX landing page recommendations. He also works as social media manager with an NGO to spread awareness for girls' education. So without further delay, I introduce you all to our guest speaker. Over to you, Abhishek.
Thank you, Ramna. Hi guys, how are you? So I'm going to start my session by telling how we can optimize our website for both search engines and users. So they both play a vital part in our sales and marketing. So you can't just focus on anyone. So making sure we need to actually focus on both of them. Let's start. It's a slide about Adlift. So we work with some of the biggest ventures worldwide. We analyze almost 1 million pages every day. We have internal crawlers who crawl websites, who check out their technical issues, make sure that their technical recommendations, the response code, the pagination codes are super solid, so that they don't have any crawler visibility issues with search engines and all. This is one of the percentage of how many of our keywords are ranking on top 10. This is the agenda of our today's webinar. I've covered, I've put together these points in the webinar, which is regarding what basically SEO, how those server response codes work, what practices we should follow for the URL structures, how you can optimize your site internationally. If you have multilingual sites, how you can serve the right content to the right visitors. And then if you have a big website like say Jabong or Adobe or EAB, how you'll manage and make sure that they're getting properly indexed and crawled by search engines. And then recommendation regarding the authorship markup, publisher markup, which is one of the biggest thing in Google since the launch of Google+. And then how you can create those user-friendly search landing pages, and how you can avoid that basic mistakes that can irritate your visitors and increase the bounce rate. So starting from search engine optimization, what is search engine optimization? Basically, what is an organic query and paid query? When you go to Google or some other search engine, type a query. Say in this example, I have taken aviators sunglasses online. When you type a query, you can see two types of results. First are the paid results, and below the paid results, the second was the organic results. So paid ones are directly related to your spend, and organic results are directly related to the quality of websites. So Google and other search engines have a number of algorithms to judge the quality of a website and make sure they serve the best website according to the organic query. In general, the organic traffic and what is search engine optimization? So search engine optimization can actually help you get these organic traffic, which is free traffic or natural listings. So it's not dependent on your budget. It's dependent on your site quality and the efforts you have put in link building and other technical stuff to make sure your website gets attraction from both search engine and users. For me, the SEO is an art of building websites which gets love from search engine and users both. So you can't actually build websites just for one, just for search engines or just for users. You need to make sure that your website is actually compliance according to both of them. This is a recent study which actually was submitted by Nielsen survey. that 70% of the searchers actually prefer the organic search results. So it's actually really important to get your website ranked on Google's top 10, top 20 results. Plus, make sure your website has a proper technical structure so that search engine don't have issues regarding crawling and indexing your website. Plus, what search organic listing have advantage over paid results is you can use extensions like AdBlock and others, and you can easily block your paid ads. But you can't block your organic results because these are the results which are natural results or the real results. The reasons why you should invest in SEO. Obviously, the increased traffic. Once you get higher rankings, your traffic will increase. People will search for non-branded queries. They'll see your brand, and this will increase in your brand awareness. It is very cost-effective comparatively to the other marketing strategies like PPC or affiliates. You can increase your site usability, make sure the websites are technically sound. It is when you rank when you run PPC campaigns or spend money to run paid campaigns, you actually decide a particular time when you want to show up your ads. For SEO, when your website gets ranked naturally, so these are your sales representatives which do not sleep. So if someone search in night 3 o'clock or 3 a.m. or 4 a.m., your website is still ranking. So, and then one of the main reasons your competitors are doing this. Everybody is doing this. Everybody is working on an SEO compliance website. You can have better return on investment when you invest in SEO. Results are permanent, and then there are so many websites over the web, and you need to make sure you should stand out. So SEO can actually help you to stand out of those 250 million websites. Starting with the first thing, meta robots. So this basically meta robots are of 4 types. First is the simple, which we see on all the pages, which is index follow. The second one is index no follow. No follow means you want this page to be indexed. So these are used in respect of a page. So you want a page, you have 10 links on a particular page, and the page you want page to be indexed by search engine. Indexing means you want this page to be show up in the search results. Plus you want search engine to crawl all the links pointing in that particular page. So you need to make sure that your pages have index follow. The second thing is you don't want links to be crawled, or you don't want any link equity to be flowed on this particular page. So generally blogs have pages like tags and categories where they don't want any search engines to index those pages, but don't want they don't want to leak any link equity on those pages. So you can use index no follow there. If you don't want your page to be indexed, but still want this page to flow, this page to pass on some link equity, you can use no index no follow. And the last one is you don't want this page to be indexed, and neither you don't want any link equity from these page. So you can use no index no follow. Moving on to the next section, which is server response code. So basically, server response codes are of 6 types. First is a 200 response code, which means OK. So when you go to Google or some other website like Flipkart, it opens directly without any issues, and that is 200 OK. The other one is 301 redirection, and 302, 404, 500, and 503. So I'll explain these server response code into the coming slides. First is the 3-axis errors. So basically, there are 2 types of 300 3-axis errors, 301 and 302. 301 is move permanently, and 302 is temporarily move. So for permanently move, so say you have a page like www.flipkart.com. The other one is without flipkart.com, and the third one is www.flipkart.com/index.html. So in these cases, your preferred version of URL is www.flipkart.com. So you need to make sure the other one, the non-www and the index.html is 301 redirected, because they are serving the same content. And for other cases, say you have a category, you started a category for sunglasses on your e-commerce portal. After some days, you decided not to go further with the sunglasses section. So what you can do, you can 301 sunglasses section to some relevant sections, And then talking about the 302, that is temporarily. So say, taking the example of an e-commerce website, once you started your sunglasses, so someone is searching, you had two type of shoes, blue shoes and black shoes. Say one day your blue shoes are getting out of stock, what you can do? So just to make sure for your better user experience, what you can do, you can 302 redirect, which is a temporary redirect to the black shoes, so that once the visitor comes, they have something to buy out. They don't actually see these messages that the product is temporarily unavailable. And the other one is 4x's, the 404 errors and 410. So Google has just launched this 410 error as well. 404 is basically your page not found. So there's something wrong with your request, basically, or the content interlink, or the link in, or the anchor text interlinks to the content is linked to an incorrect URL. Basically, the URL is not present, which you are requesting to. And then the other one is 410, which is the URL is no longer available on the server. So taking the example of the e-commerce store again, so you don't want to redirect to a particular category. What you can do in this case, you can serve a 410, so that Google will actually know that you have permanently discontinued this product, and you are not willing to get this back. Another case, you can through 404. So 404 is the file is temporarily not found. So what search engine crawlers do in these cases, they come to your website again in 24 hours just to make sure the page is 404 or not. And the 410 is it's like telling them that it is no longer available, it's not on your server, and it won't be back. So it has actually worked as a strong signal. So the things you have actually finally decided to discontinue, serve 410 instead of 404. And the 500 server errors. So these are related to your server. So your server has heavy internal load, or you can't process requests. Your team is working on additional loads or doing some testing things on the server. So in these cases, the 500 errors are served. So this has nothing to do with the user request. It has all related to the servers. So when you found these errors in your webmasters or the Bing webmasters, just to make sure that the server load is properly defined on your website. And then moving to one of the most important aspects of a website, the URL structure. So URLs are generally treated as very strong signals in ranking. So our experts actually recommend you to have a uniform directory structure. So current is an example of Microsoft India, but you can see in these three examples. First is windows.microsoft.com/small en small -in. The other one is, if you see the same URL /small en and then capital IN. And the third one is microsoft.com/India. So like we all know, this is actually the Microsoft India website, and the so this is the Microsoft India website. This is Microsoft India website, and this is actually, and if you see the second level of directory structures just outside the home, there are three different directory structures. First is the small en -in, the other one is capital, and the third one is /India. So what is the recommended URL structure for that? They should actually stick up with the one URL structure, one directory structure. The first one is the /en -in. So what they should actually do, they should 301 redirect the other ones to the recommended URL structure. So the en capital IN should be replaced by en small in, and the third one, where they have the /India directory structure, should be replaced by en -in. So a uniform directory structure throughout the website, instead of having multiple directory structures for different sections. There's another example of Skoda's website, where you can see the multiple directories have been called out in different folders. Take the first example, where the employee speaks has been repeated 2 times. And if you see the other examples for test drives and prices and others. So this is not constant throughout the website. You don't need 2 times employee speaks in a URL. or you don't need test drive in two times in your URL or prices in 2 times in your URL. And canonical issues. Canonical URLs, moving to the next best practices, which is canonical URLs. So these are some examples: yourwebsite.com, yourwebsite.com/index.html, without www yourwebsite.com, and without www yourwebsite.com/index.html. So these are very general issues which have been found on most of the websites. So currently, when websites are built, they have this /index.html or index.php issue. What you need to make sure, once your site goes live, or even doing the technical audit, you need to make sure that you have just the one version, because the /index.html or /index.php, these are actually part of the homepage content, or which can actually dilute your link equity and serve multiple versions of URL to search engines. Serving multiple versions of same content with different URLs, which can actually lead you with penalties like Panda and over optimization. So you need to make sure once you actually start your website, or once you're doing this technical audit, you need to make sure you should have only the one URL structure, either with www or without www. Moving on to the other best practices for URL structure, that is case-sensitive URL. So if you can see in the mentioned examples for ebay.in. So the first URL is ebay.in/chp capital audio -books and then the ID. In the next example, it's ebay.in/chp the small audio books, the audio.books and then the ID. So for most of us, these URL look same. But for search engines, these are two different versions of a URL which are serving the same content. So when you actually define your website structure, you need to make sure either they have in capital or in uppercase or lowercase. What we recommend you here is to actually have those URL in lowercase, so that they are constant throughout the website. You do not need to call out your specific keywords in capital and all. So just to make sure your website follows the same directory structure throughout the website. And the other one is trailing slashes. This is an example of Yebi, which is one of the leading e-commerce portals in India. So what you can see, they have this online shopping, then hyphen, and the last one is bags.html. The other one is the same URL, then a trailing slash in the end. What they have done, so these are for search engines. If you have those trailing slashes in URL, they are treated as one of the same versions. So ideally they are same, but if you use these trailing slashes in URLs and show a different URL, search engine treat them as a different version of URL. So serving same content with different versions of URL can actually lead you in duplicate content issues. So what they have done wrong here, so they have put a 302 redirection, which is a temporary redirection. But the page is actually the copy of the main page. So there should be a 301 instead of 302. So they've been doing this site-wide. So this is one of the reasons they're not showing up on most of the keywords. So Flipkart or Mantra actually dominates the entire e-commerce rankings. So they have this technical pitfalls in their website. So what you should do for your trailing flashes, best place is to 301 redirect. Some people don't show any URL with these trailing flashes, which is like wasting your URL efforts. So make sure you don't throw 404 when someone actually adds the trailing slash at the end of the URL. 302, like we have seen the example of Yevi, which is like wasting the link juice and your efforts. And 200 is like serving a different page to search engine with the same content. It's like creating duplicate content and indexing issues for your website. Next, we move on to the pagination. So we all have seen when we go to e-commerce website and crawl for products. So after the first go, they show up other products and the list goes on. So this is just from user point of view, but for search engines, this creates a lot of problems. So when search engine comes to your website, they call the first thing, they are not able to see any product which are after show more. So what this creates indexing problem for them. We can see in the example of first try. So the products after the show more are not getting actually crawled. Same from Prop Tiger. So they are showing this 973 project in the first go. It's like serving a lot of content in one page. That will definitely increase their page load time. And the other thing, they won't be able to show all 973 products on the same page. They're using this infinite crawling, but not making sure that they get attention from the search engine or not. And internally, we actually check their indexing ratio as well. For this particular page, their indexing ratio is really low. So what they can do, what is the solution for that? They need to implement pagination. Pagination is actually an art of connecting big contents in a logical manner so that the first page gets all the attention for search engines. So let's take an example. Say you have 4 pages, page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4. You have seen this on blog article as well, if you read Forbes as well. So what they essentially do, they actually divide their content into multiple parts, page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, and for other sites as well. And for e-commerce, this is one of the deciding factors in making sure the products are getting crawled and indexed. So let's take an example, page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4. What Google has done, Google has given us an authority to actually tell Google that these pages are connected in a logical manner. So what they have done, they have introduced a code called rel, prev, and next. So it's like an art of connecting the page, all the pages which are the part of the main content. So what you can do using those rel, prev, next, you can tell Google that this is your second page. So in the mention example, so we have these 4 pages, example.com/article story, and then the page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4. So what you will do in the head section of the page 1, what you'll add next, refers to the next page, which is page 2. So it doesn't have any previous page. So the previous page, there's no need of adding rel, prev there. For second page, it has actually a previous page and then the next page. So we'll add previous page is page 1, and then the next page is page 3, and so on until we reach the last page. So the last page won't have any next page. What it'll have only a previous entity. So what will mention the previous code there. So this is another example of what Shopperstop is doing wrong. So what they have done, they have implemented the pagination code there, but when you are connected, so we discuss about canonical tags. Canonical tags are generally telling Google that this content is actually a copy of the main content. When we can't put 301 either, we add a canonical tag. For what Shopperstop is doing wrong, they've actually added the canonical tag of the main page on all the pagination pages. So on one hand, they are actually telling Google that they are connecting these products in a logical manner. So this is actually a part of page 2. Page 1, page 2, page 3. This is actually the big content divided into multiple parts. And on the other hand, they have actually added a canonical tag of the main page. So they have those 2 codes which are conflicting each other. One of the possible reasons the pagination is not working correctly. And then moving to the international SEO. So when you actually operate a site like Adobe or some other sites which are or Nike, so which are designed to serve users across the globe. And say you are running a website in Canada where the preferred languages are 2, English and Spanish. So how you make sure that you serve the right content and right websites to the users. The best way to do that is actually focus on your international SEO strategy. So telling about your multilingual websites. Multilingual websites are generally websites which offers content in more than one language. More than one language can be English, or either English, French, or it can be Hindi in India. And the multi-regional website which actually targets users in different countries. So say your business is you have a business which offer products for Australia, New Zealand, Vietnam, or US, or the European countries. So that means you have a multi-regional website, you have multi-regional business, and you need to make sure that you actually serve the right content and the right products to the right visitors. If you're serving and if you're serving Asian website or Indian website to an Australian user, it won't make any sense. It will actually lead you into the bad user experience, because you're showing them the things that they don't really need it. Then moving to another example, which is of Adobe. So what I did, I actually went to Google India, typed the query, which is Adobe Reader. So I was looking to buy the Adobe Reader. So what I see actually, so the US version is ranking ahead of India version. So when I actually clicked on, didn't see the third page results, actually clicked on it, it took me into the US version instead of the India version. And you can see the India version is actually ranking on 3. So I'm someone who is typing this query from India and is more interested in buying an Indian project, but Indian product which is in India. And then what you can see, they are actually serving the US. The US website is actually getting US website is outranking the main website, the India website. So possibly they're not doing the international SEO good. If you could take another example, that's not only for India. If you see Adobe result in Google France as well. So I went to Google France and typed the same enter the same query, which is Adobe Reader. What I actually saw, there was no local results. So Adobe have a local a directory structure for France as well, and eventually that should show up in the search result. But what you can see in the mentions of the result, there's no signs of the France sites. So someone who is typing this query from France is actually getting in the US version, which is not relevant to according to the search query he entered. So what Google has done, so Google has actually come out with a great solution to helping us to make sure we serve the right content and the right websites to our users worldwide. So if you have an international website, you have different directory sections for different countries. You don't need to worry about, because Google has this href-lang code. What it actually does, it tells search engine and other callers, except Google and other callers as well, that this content is supposed to be served in India. This content is supposed to be served in US. This content is supposed to be served in Australia. So where we need to actually add this code? It's needed to be added in the head section. So you have CCTLDs, which is your country level domains, or certain pages or the subdomains or sections which you want to show up in. So you have a specific section which you want to show up in Australia only, or US only, or European countries only. With the use of this href-lang thing, you can actually make sure that you serve the right content to your right visitors. How you can actually implement this? So we have taken this example of AdLib. So we have two versions, like UK version, Australia version. So what we need to do with href-lang, we need to make sure the language and the country code. For UK, the country code is GB, which is Great Britain, and the language code is English. The other way to do this is actually create XML sitemap, the semantic XML sitemap, which has those href-lang tags. Let's see another example who is actually doing this correct. So if you see the mentioned example of it's ETSY. So I've just entered ETSY in Google India, and if you can see, they were serving the right content, which is you can see the directory structure, IANS-India. This is the internal directory structure. So if you see if you go to their source code and check out their href-lang tags, so what they have done, they have mentioned all the country domains and the languages that they have. So this is actually helping Google to show up the correct results for ETSY, and that's probably not working for Adobe, since they have the US version more optimized comparatively to the other versions like India or France, or for other countries like Italy. And then moving to the next section, which is one of the most important sections. If you run a 50,000 pages website, or you run a big e-commerce portal, or you run a 50 pages blog, So you need to make sure this all your pages are getting indexed and crawled. So let's take an example of e-commerce portals. So they have tons of products listed, and what you can essentially do, you can't check the indexing and crawling of all the pages. What you need to make sure, you need a structure. You need to make sure that these are getting indexed and crawled by search engine on a regular basis. And you should have some parameters. You should have some numbers to monitor the progress of your indexing platforms, of your products. So what site runs essentially do, they actually tell Google about your products. So say that it's not necessary that search engine will be able to discover those products all the time. What you can do, you can create sitemaps. You can add those new URLs into your sitemap and resubmit your sitemaps into your website and Google Webmaster and other webmasters. So it's like pinging back to those search engines and telling them that you have added a new page as well. Where sitemap actually can help you. So if you have a dynamic content, you're changing your content on a regular basis, and you need search engine to come and see that your content has changed. This is where search sitemaps can help you. You are not seeing you're not find out that why your products are not getting indexed or not getting crawled from a long time. What you can do, you can go ahead and submit their sitemap and see. Go ahead and submit their sitemap and see what are the issues with the crawling and indexing. And you have created some new pages. You want search engine to get attention of those pages. You can do that. And the most important, this is for most of the e-commerce ventures. If you have tons of pages and you can't make sure you are building links or you are interlinking all of them, what you can do, you can create those product sitemaps and submit to Google and see which of them are getting indexed and which of them are not getting or not. This is a good way to monitor where are the issues. So let's take the first case. So what I won't mention the site name, but this is a snapshot of available on of a website. We can see they've submitted almost 14K URLs into Google Webmaster or into their sitemap, but apart from this, only 1.6K are getting indexed. So the indexing ratio is only 11%. That's really bad. In 18 and almost 90% of their pages are not getting indexed. There may be tons of number of issues, maybe duplicate content or issues with the URL structure and all. If you take the second case, this is another case where the indexing ratio is almost 100%. They've submitted those 567 URLs and all of them are getting indexed. So the indexing ratio is 100%, which is really good. So this is another example of one of my blogs where what we have done, we have created those big sitemaps into small sitemaps. So let's take another example. So let's see if you are handling a website like Jabong or a website with a size which is the size of Jabong or Flipkart or Mantras, how you will make sure that all of your products and pages are getting indexed, or how you'll monitor them that most of the pages are getting indexed and crawled. So I've taken this example. So the Jabong and their main categories are like new and women, kids, sports, home, fashion, design and brands and sale. And then diving into some other subcategories as well. So into the men's subcategory, there are subcategories like shoes, clothing, watches, bags, sunglasses, accessories, fragrances, jewelry. So there are a number of products listed in Jabong. So how you make sure that all of your products are getting indexed? The answer is semantic sitemap. The semantic sitemap is an art of dividing your main sitemap into multiple sitemaps, dividing your sitemap into subdirectories and hierarchies. So this is recommended sitemap structure for Jabong. The main sitemap will be indexed, and it will have some sub sitemaps of new in the main categories: men's section, women's section, kids section, home section, designers and brands. And then these category sitemaps will have subcategory sitemaps, which is clothing, shoes, watches, jewelry. So this is actually the most recommended subcategory sitemap as well. For men's category, they'll divide into main subcategories as well, which is men shoes, men clothing, men watches, and others. And then moving forward, these subcategories will be subcategory sitemap will be divided into subcategory sitemaps, which is casual shoes, sport shoes, sandals. So if you have a brand section, like so you have let's say 50 or 60 brands, but you're not sure which of your brands are getting indexed or not. What you can do, you can actually create a brand, some sitemaps of your brands, and see how many out of those 60 or 80 brands you have listed, how many of them are actually indexed. So monitoring performance with less number of pages is actually easy, rather than submitting 10,000 pages or 5,000 pages in a particular sitemap and seeing how many of them are actually getting indexed. And then moving to one of the most important things on your website, which is your robots. So robot.txt is actually a text file. So whenever search engines come to your website, what they do first, they check for your robot.txt. So universally, robot.txt is present on your domain.com/robot.txt. So what search engine do? They come to your website first. They see what you have mentioned in robot.txt, and then they set the priorities of crawling according to the robot.txt, to the present robot.txt. So what it actually does, so this is an example. So there are the benefits of having robot.txt in your website. So say if you don't want to crawl some specific folders, or you're running a test on some specific folder, and you don't want search engines to come and see what you guys are doing, or you don't want search engines to see what some specific folder, or you don't want them to see your login access or some temporary files, or you don't want them to crawl JavaScript and all. What you can do, you can block them via robots.txt. This is an example of sites with robots.txt and sites without robot.txt. So when you have a robot.txt on your website, when you don't have robot.txt on your website, either caller, if it is Googlebot or Yahoo Slab or MSN bot, they have all the access to crawl your entire content. So you can't limit them with any specific thing. You can crawl, they can crawl your internal files. They can come to show up. They can crawl your admin data. They can crawl your private data. They can crawl to your login details. They can crawl your invitations. They can crawl everything. They can crawl. They can show up your CSS files. They can show up your images in search results. And when you have robot.txt, what you do with robot.txt, you actually set up that these pages need to be crawled, or these don't. So take an example. So you don't want your admin folder to be crawled. You don't want any search engine to come and see this is your admin folder, and what data you have put into your admin folder. So what robots.txt will do, they'll actually block all the search engines. They'll tell them, and they take this as a directive. They follow this, and they won't crawl any of your folders. So these are basic syntax of robot.txt. So if you don't want your entire site to be crawled, use disallow. I mean, if you are into testing purpose, you're working to finalize your website, you can do this. But once your site is live and available for user and search engines, make sure you don't have this disallow in your robot.txt. If you want to block some specific folders, you can block that folder name. If you want to block some particular page, you can block that page as well. Like we have done this private_HTML file.html. If you want to block some specific image, you can do that as well with the image name. You can block Google image crawlers to actually come and crawl your image. You can do that as well, and you can mention if you don't want to call them any of your websites. If you want them to call your website but not the images, you can do that as well. These are some popular pattern matchings. So not sure. So you have a private folder, but you're not sure how many of URLs are in this particular folder. So what you can do, you can use an asterisk there, and this will tell Google anything which has private there. They don't need to crawl them. The other one is the question mark. So you're not sure what is ahead of the what if ahead of the some URL queries and all, you want to block some parameters, what you can do, you can add this question mark or star ahead of them. The other one is if you want to block a specific file type, you don't want any PDFs, any XLs or any JPGs in your website to be crawled. What you can do, you can block them with the extension name and at the dollar sign at the end of the extension. Moving on to the another thing which can be really lethal for your website. So clocking. So a lot of people used to do that. Clocking is actually something presenting different content to users and entirely different content to search engine bots. So it's like trying to manipulate your rankings, search engine rankings, or having those into the source code, but not showing to your users or visitors. What clocking can do you? So if Google and other engines can actually find you doing this clocking thing, they can remove your website from search engines entirely. So you will be deemed like you won't be appearing in search results. And then moving to the other section, which is mobile SEO. So when actually you type a search query in mobile, there are three things you can serve to your visitors. First is through the responsive web design. Second is dynamically checking whether user is from a mobile device or a tab device, and the third one is having separate sites from both mobile and desktop sites. So when you use responsive web design, which is Google's recommendation as well, you don't need to worry about that. You don't need to worry about user experience because your engineers or your developers have already tested this out. They have already tested out the source, the CSS code and HTML. The best thing about responsive is your HTML CSS remains the same. The only thing is changed how you render your CSS to show on the screen side. The second one is you change dynamically your HTML CSS, which is I believe not a good practice because you change the HTML. So say you have a different HTML for search engines and you have a different HTML for mobile users, and you're not connecting them or telling search engine that these are actually the identical versions. So it may sometimes lead to clocking as well, which is showing different different results to search engine and different source code to desktop users and different source HTML source code to the mobile users. And the third one is having a separate mobile site. So we took this example of Jabong again. So what Jabong have? They have a separate mobile site. So when you enter some specific query or the brand name from your mobile device, like Jabong, their mobile site actually shows up in the search results, which is really a good thing. And how they're actually doing this? So there's an alternate code by Google where the search engine where you tell Google that this is actually the mobile version of my website, and for mobile results you need to show up this website. And in the meantime, what you do on mobile website, you put a canonical tag of the main website just to make sure you don't have any duplicate content issues. Well, there are some common SEO mistakes as well in mobile SEO. So it's like faulty redirects, redirecting to the mobile website and sometimes redirecting to the desktop website, and then irrelevant cross-linking. So say if you are serving the mobile website, you need to make sure that the interlinking is actually to the mobile site, mobile URLs. And third time, the unplayable video. So you need to make sure that your user experience is really good on your mobile device, because it's like 3 to 5 inch screen. People have very less time to actually decide whether they want to go ahead with the details or not. The other one is app downloading messages. So make sure that they are visiting your website on a regular basis. Then tell him to download your app. It's not actually good to tell them directly on the first time that you should download their app. The other one is, which actually is one of the key factors these days on website structure, is rich snippets. Rich snippet is actually adding values to your search results. So it's like it can be in different types. Maybe breadcrumbs you can add. So when you search something, you see the music details, the time slot, I mean, the organizations, and one of the most important is those stars when you search for some particular product, like you search for Raven Aviators, you see those stars and reviews coming into the search results. This is one of the good things about this snippet. What they essentially do, they increase the likelihood of the click-through rate on your product. So when some user sees that standout results in search results, apart from the normal listing, their interest actually gets increased. The other thing is the authorship markup. So you run a blog, you have a blog section. There must be a number of people who are actually writing for your blog as well. So best way to actually do that is to set up authorship for your blog section. Tell them that you are actually the authentic writer for this blog post. What this will essentially lead in, your author visibility as well. So if you're writing content from your company, organization blog or some third-party blog, so this will tell Google that you are actually the authentic writer of this blog post. Definitely, when you see those images showing up in search results, that lead to the higher page views plus the higher CTR. Plus, you can build trust with these authorship markups. The other one is publisher markup, which is for brands. So go to Google if you can get a chance, search for Mantra or Flipkart. What you can see apart from the organic results into the right sidebar, the G+ page appears as well. So why they appear as well? So this is because of the author publisher markup. So they are the verified publishers of this content. The other is social sharing buttons. So it will be actually really difficult to build links for your 50,000, 60,000, 80,000 products available on your website. What you can essentially do, you can add those social sharing buttons to your all products. So say for example, you bought some product, you want to share this with your friend, you can easily share with your Twitter circles or Facebook circles or Facebook friends. You can easily Pinterest that image as well. Then moving on to the user-friendly landing pages. So landing pages are actually, like we discussed earlier, these are specific design pages which convert your visitors into leads. So these are some pages which are available 24/7 into 365. They won't ask for any leave, or they won't ask for any holiday to you. They'll be available throughout the 24/7 into 365 onto the web. So what you need to make sure, you have proper content, you have relevant images, you have the right thing to serve to your visitors. So if they come up to your website, they don't face any issues, or they don't find it relevant. So this is an example of the content placement, how you should place content on your landing pages. It should be clear headings, relevant images should be there. You need to make sure that bullet points are actually, the content is actually divided into or presented in a better way so that people can see and read it properly instead of having those long phrases or long paragraphs. Then the last one is social share buttons. Since the focus on social is actually really increasing from last few years, you need to make sure your website has those strong signals from social sites as well. And then you can actually add up more value to your content. How you can add that? You can add your client testimonials to your product pages. You can add your awards, what you have earned in some particular industry. And it's like adding more value to your landing pages. And then the things which can actually lead you to bad UX. So bad UX means bad user experience. You went to a website and something starts to irritate you, or you didn't like something. So this is something which is bad user experience, or things which can actually lead you that you will avoid this particular site in the next time. So for as the masters of marketing strategists, we need to make sure when a search engine, when a visitor comes to a website, they get the best out of our website, plus they get the best out of our website, and the engagement is actually higher. So one of the reasons where you lost most of your visitors is page load time. So you go to a website, it takes tons of time in loading. So what you will from next time, what you'll do, you'll actually start avoiding this particular website. Because you'll have this slow loading time experience with the website. There's a tool from Google which is specifically for developers. What they can do, they can enter their website there, check out what are the areas of opportunities in the block section and all in the website structure by reducing the CSS or the image size and all. Other thing is force messages. This is a snapshot of folks. So if you read folks, what they first do, they'll actually force making sure that you read the folks thought of the day. So I mean, it's like I'm not interested. I was mainly interested in reading the story. But what Forbes make sure that you actually read their thought of the day. So it's like forcing someone to read your messages. So it can be in either way. For Forbes, they serve this thought of the day, which sometimes get irritating, and nobody is actually willing to read those thought of the day or moral lessons every time. The other one is the survey pop-ups or rate ourselves or rate our product, which is like an example of price grabber. So when I actually visited Price Grabber first time, instead of showing me those results and all, they start asking for my feedback. So I mean, let's be very practical. I haven't visited your website for sure. I mean, I'm just checking down, and you're asking me to rate this website. So ask for feedback, but when it is logical. When you see actually the visitors have spent enough time on your website, and they're actually ready to move on. Other things can be generally a lot of small websites, brick and mortar websites do this. They have fake images. What they do, they go to Shutterstock, they go to other some free Google images and add them into their websites as clients or as their team or as their happy customers. So with the Google image search, one can easily search for these images and find out that you are actually showing those fake people in your websites. So what I recommend you to not to mention those fake images or free images in your product or website pages. The other one is that's an example of Meru camp. So I tell you, I mean, I was watching a cricket match. So the match just got ended, and I was looking to book a cab there from there. So instead of showing me the result, they were actually forcing me to install their app. I mean, come on, dude. It's almost 12:30 in the night. I'm actually looking to book a cab and go reach my home as soon as possible. And you're telling me to download your app. So you can serve this in the download app passively, but when they're actually make sure that when they're actually really needed. Yeah, that's all from my webinar. So Aradhana, you can actually take that forward.
Thanks for the insightful presentation, Abhishek. Let's quickly take up the questions now. I would request you to read out the questions and their answers so that all our users may listen to your insights. So are you able to see the questions in the question doc?
No. Yeah. So I can see one question there. That's from Pankaj. What is the best resource of information available online video format for doing SEO? So what you can do, you can read a number of blogs. There are blogs like Search Engine Land, Search Engine Vault, SEO Moz. Rand Fishkin do a regular Whiteboard Friday on his Search Engine Vault on a regular basis. And apart from this, you can keep searching for good quality sites. You can read our blog as well, which is blog.idlib.com, to get insights about the latest trend in search engines. But you can make sure you can subscribe to these 5 or 6 good blogs on a regular basis. And the other question is from Saibal Banerjee. I own a blog and often get 404 that has some Apple Touch icon error. How to overcome that? So Saibal, I didn't get this question completely. What you can do, you can connect me on Twitter and send the complete questions. So there may be some issues with your URL you are entering into your phone, because if the site is live, then there are no issues that it can show you some errors. And the other question is from Hari Durga. I am owning a website, paintmyscreen.com. I followed SEO tips, but still the traffic to the website is not as expected. Please suggest me how to improve. So Hari, there can be a number of issues that are affecting your website performance. It can't be the technical SEO all the time. It can be the link profile you have. You need to go through to your link profile and see what types of links you are getting back. Maybe you've been hit by some other updates like Penguin and Panda. Penguin basically leads to the quality of links. So go ahead and see what type of links you are getting, what's your link profile and all, and then you can check out your technical SEO as well. What you can do, you can essentially go to the Google Webmaster. If you don't have set up Google Webmaster, see what type of messages you get from search engine from last 2 or 3 months, or when the traffic actually got decreased or dropped. Then another question is from Abhishek Sharma. Please tell me how to start analyzing the keywords in any website. So there are two things in keyword analysis. First thing is actually analyzing keywords for your website. What are the potential keywords for your website? You can use tools like Uber Suggest or Keyword Tracker and the Google AdWords tool as well. And then what you can do once you actually finalize your keyword research, after seeing what products are you dealing in, and then make sure that you target the right keywords to the right page. So it's like mapping your keywords to the most relevant page. Then another question is for Raju Vijayagiri. Please give tips for single web applications also. Single page web applications. Okay, so these web applications can be subscribing and or running a tool or playing a game. So what you can do, you can start linking to. You can make sure the page load time, the first thing, is actually fine. You can then set up event tracking on your website to make sure where you are getting the most of where most of your users are getting bounced from, and then you can see that you have proper title meta tags. If you have content on the website that is engaging, and you have proper call to action buttons. So make sure you are not missing any of the call to action buttons from your website. So it should be there. So if you have a single page website, these call to action buttons are really needed, and plus the content. So content should be really engaging, and plus don't forget to actually mention those social sharing buttons in your website, so that you should always get this idea that the people which are actually coming to your website will have this opportunity to share your pages. The other question is from Ashish. If a site has a Robots.txt and has not mentioned a robots meta tag onto the website, then will it affect the crawling of the website? No. So by default, it is index follow. So if you want to give special directives to search engine, you need to add those other 3 cases which we mentioned: no index follow, no index no follow, or index no follow. Otherwise, by default, it is index follow. You don't need to give any special directive if you don't have any meta tag on your website. And the other question is from Nikhil Bhatt, which is what are the tools for SEO? So I'm not sure in what sense you are actually asking this. So for best thing, when you actually get a website, make sure you set up Google Webmaster and Analytics for your website first, plus the Bing Webmaster. So Google Webmaster is essentially a really great tool. So what it gives you search query data, it gives you internal links to your website, external links to your website, plus how your site is performing from indexing wise and all. And the other tools you can use is like Google AdWords. You can analyze the keyword from the crawl data. You can use server response code to make sure. You can use streaming frog to crawl your website and completely and see what are the general issues your website has. And then
Okay. Due to time constraint, I have to request you, Abhishek, to take the unanswered questions offline, which I will share with you through email. You can take one last question, and after that you can close the session.
That's from Prateek Jain. Does Google authorship affect the page rankings? Yes, it does. So when you see a lot of Google rankings actually depends on the bounce rate factor as well. what you see when you see 10 results in Google, and you see the 6 or the 7 which is ranking is most attractive. So your click-through rate comparatively the ones which are ranking in the top 5, top 6 is actually get increased comparatively to the ones which has those authorship or the snippets in the search results. You can actually try this internally as well. You can show up results to your, we have done this number of case studies internally as well. So the results which have those authorship have actually tells people that this is actually the authentic writer, that authentic author of this article, comparative to the ones which are just showed as the article title and the meta snippets. Yeah. Hello?
Yes, so if you would like to sum up the session for today, you can do it now, Abhishek.
Yeah, so thank you guys. Thank you for listening me up. What you can do, you can reach me out on LinkedIn, Twitter, or you can read my personal blog as well, which is indiaspeaksnow.com. You can connect me, you can ask your queries. I'm happy to answer them. It will be actually privileged to answer these questions. And we can connect on other platforms, social platform as well, to discuss these SEO details. Okay, thank you. Thanks for your time.
It was indeed a great session, Abhishek, and I'm really thankful to you for conducting this wonderful webinar. I would also like to thank all our participants for their support in making this webinar a success. The recording of the webinar will be available on techgig.com by tomorrow. Thank you all for joining us today. Thank you, Abhishek, for taking the time out and having us. Have a great evening ahead.
Thank you, Arana.